24. 24 is a magic number. Why 24? 24 hours a day. That's what we all have. If you're rich or if you're poor. The magic number of 24 can be broken down in 24 seconds. Now this is maybe how long it will take you to skip to the next video. But hopefully in the next 24 minutes, how long this video is supposed to be, I can change your world. I can change your life. Then we also get 24 hours. Now what did you do with your last 24 hours? Have you wasted it? Or been productive? Wannabe entrepreneurs need to have a plan, need to have a goal. Maybe you need to take the next 24 hours, if you've wasted the past 24 hours, to reconsider where your life is heading and rethink your life. Maybe you're stuck in a dead-end job and you don't see a future for yourself. This is a good chance for you to reconsider your life. What's the next 24? The next 24 is 24 days. Now 24 days are basically the month, the normal working month that's lying ahead of you. Taking 1 day a week off, as the Bible says, 1 day a week we need to rest. So if you take out all the Sundays out of a normal month and you add maybe 1 or 2 Saturdays, you get to 24 days. Now the business cycle also revolves around 24 days. Normally after 24 days there's a month end. After you've worked a month, you need to gather your financial information, that all the activities that happened in the past 24 days. All the income and all the expenses. Summarizes your month's activities. What is the next 24? 24 months. 24 months is 2 years. Maybe you must also take this time and think back on the last 24 months of your life. What happened the last 24 months in your life? The last 2 years. Did you grow? Are you stagnant? Or are you in decline? Now if you're in decline, or if your life is stagnating, maybe this is also the time for you to think, what am I going to do with the next 24 months? It's only 2 years. 2 years goes like this. If you just take the last 24 months, that is basically when COVID started. And the whole world came to a standstill for 24 months, 2 years. And in retrospect, it went by in the blink of an eye. But it was certainly very detrimental for any business to go through this 24-month period. A lot of businesses closed their doors. Maybe you're in a situation where you had to close your business and you have to now start again. Maybe consider a new business opportunity. You can't just sit around for the next 24 months and do nothing. So maybe you have to start a new business. Maybe you want to be an entrepreneur and you're considering starting a new business. The next 24 is 24 years. Now if you as geriatric as what I am, and if I think back the past 24 years, it is basically before my children was even born. My wife and I were married, we were young, and we started our first business more than 24 years ago. Again, if you consider the last 24 years, it feels like it went at the speed of light. Now maybe this is a good moment to maybe think ahead 24 years. Say you could time travel 24 years into the future. and you sit and you look back over the 24 years, where would you be? Now imagine 24 years from now, and you sit and you look back, but you're not sitting in the dumps. You're sitting on a pile of cash, gazillions. And that can happen.
First, you turn the time circuits on. This readout tells you where you're going, this one tells you where you are, this one tells you where you were. That was the day I invented time travel. I remember it vividly. I was standing on the edge of my toilet, hanging a clock. The porcelain was wet. I slipped, hit my head on the edge of the sink, and when I came to, I had a revelation, a vision, a picture in my head, a picture of this. This is what makes time travel possible.
We are back to the present. Now, why did I bring up 24 years? There's a saying in business that you can compare a company, a business, to a tree. And the tree takes a very long time to mature. It starts off with a small seed, and it takes 24 years for a tree to get big. And that is the entrepreneurial journey. Your business starts as a small seed, and there are stages in this business period. From a small twig that comes out of the ground to a massive oak. And after 24 years, you can sit under that oak in the shadows and appreciate the benefits that this tree is giving you. So, Wannabe entrepreneur, remember that any business takes time to mature, to get big. Any business starts from zero, then it goes through different phases, but eventually it becomes a big tree. Have you heard the joke where they ask, how do you get on in the top of a huge oak tree? And the joke is, you plant a seed and you sit on that seed for 24 years, and after 24 years you'll be in the top of that tree. Now that's one alternative, to just sit on your ass and do nothing. But why don't you decide today, in the next 24 hours, that you want to change your world, that you want to change the world, that you want to start a business that's going to revolutionize society. Now, if you think it's impossible, then it will be impossible. Because whatever the mind conceives, it achieves. I think that comes from the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I probably read that book 24 years ago. And I believed that concept. I believed in that concept that whatever the mind conceives, I will achieve. Now, looking back over 24 years, I'm comfortable, but I could have been in a much bigger oak tree. That would have meant sacrifices. Sacrifices that I was probably not prepared to take, because I wasn't prepared to sacrifice seeing my children grow up. But again, I'm sitting here, just as you are, and I can look 24 years into the future. And I can make the decision now to grow a massive oak tree. 24 years from now, I'll be nearly 80 years old. Now, when I'm 80, if God gives me the grace to live that long, I don't want to look back on my 80th birthday, look back 24 years and realize that I've wasted 24 years. And that's your decision. And that's my decision, to decide where do I want to be 24 years from now. Now, most of us live in a free world. We've got free choice. No one forces us to make any changes to our lives. It only takes willpower, determination, effort, hard work, grind, grit to change your world. No one's holding a gun against your head. But some people need a gun against their head to change their lives. I don't want to get the news that I've only got so much time left to change my life. The final countdown. And that normally happens when people go, they don't feel well and they go to the doctor, and the doctor diagnoses a terminal illness. And the doctor tells you, sorry sir, sorry ma'am, you've only got 2 years to live. 24 months. What are you going to do? Create yourself a bucket list to do all the things that you always wanted to do in your life? But maybe that's what we need, and maybe that is what the ultimatum I must give you as wannabe entrepreneur. There's a final countdown. You've only got so many good days left. You need to make a difference. You need to start somewhere. You need to start something. You need to start a business. Now most people that get that diagnosis that they've only got 24 months to live, probably the last thing on their mind is to start a new business. But maybe you must just get the mindset to say, there's a final countdown. I need to do something now. Today. I need to make this decision within the next 24 hours. And start with the action within the next 24 days. If I want to change my life. If I want to better my life. So maybe that's the challenge. You've got a final countdown. Because no one of us want to sit 24 months from now and look back to this moment and realize that I've wasted it. I had these plans and these dreams and these aspirations, but nothing happened. And that is why the entrepreneurial journey starts with the first step. That first step is to make the decision that I'm going to improve things. I'm going to better things. I'm going to better my circumstances. And so what if you look back 24 months from now and you haven't reached that point that you envision for yourself at this moment? How your life will look 24 months from now. But if you've started, you're already on that journey, on that footpath. You're already higher on the mountain than where you started. Because if you don't start that journey and you look back 24 months and you haven't started, you'll still be in the valley. You'll still be there at the bottom. Whilst other people started climbing this mountain. And that's the other thing. If you just sit on your ass and you would see the progression after 24 months. Now no business, no startup is successful after the first 24 months.
It worked! It worked! I finally invented something that works! Your ass, it works.
Now let's do some time travel. The current year is 2022 AD, Anno Domini. Now what happened 24 years ago? 24 years ago, and some exciting companies were started in that era. In 1998, 24 years ago, this company was started. Google. Now, without Google, this exercise, what you're doing now, wouldn't have been possible. Because YouTube, that was started in 2005, is part of Google. Another company that was started in 1998 was PayPal by our South African friend Elon Musk. And PayPal basically gave Elon his launchpad to start his current ventures, Tesla and SpaceX. Another company that you may use is Amazon. Amazon was started in 1994, Jeff Bezos. 24 years ago, some of the largest companies in this world were started from an idea. I'm going to show you the video. These guys had ideas. They started with nothing. They started at ground zero. And they built these companies up over the past 24 years in billion-dollar companies.
It's hard to think of another Valley company whose name is said as often by so many.
We say the internet gathered up all the world's information and gave us access to it. No, Google gathered up all the world's information and gave us access to it. It's really the ability to search for knowledge that is the transformative event of our era.
This global giant, like so many of the Valley's legendary firms, owes its founding to the Valley's magnetic attraction, a force that draws two ambitious young people here.
It's, two people out of Stanford, that never had a job before and started what today is one of the most successful companies in the world.
Larry Page is from Michigan. Sergey Brin, born in Russia, grows up in Maryland. After college, each wants to pursue a PhD in computer science. Each decides to come to the Valley, to Stanford, where in 1995 they meet. The next year, they decide to work together on a thesis project to improve the sorry state of search on the internet.
Search on the internet had become horrible.
The sheer amount of information available is immense, almost overwhelming.
And so finding things that were relevant was very difficult.
You might search for some important topic and you got somebody's kid's term paper on it, you got somebody who'd written about it, whatever.
You couldn't find anything anymore because the stuff you were looking for was like 100 pages down.
But Brin and Page think they found a solution.
The thing that really shifted was the recognition that deciding whether a particular thing was relevant to your search was not just a matter of looking at what was in it. You want to look for pages that other people think are valuable.
It's an idea they borrow from their parents.
Both Sergey and Larry were academic kids. Their families were professors, they were graduate students, and they were extremely familiar with the way that citations work in scientific literature. I write a paper, other people who think it's a good paper put a footnote in their paper pointing to my paper. And maybe you could take that same structure and import it to the way that people link one page to another. So if lots of people link to my page, it probably means it's a good page.
The idea was to build a system that you could reliably count how popular something was.
They named their search method after the mathematical term for one, followed by 100 zeros, intentionally misspelled.
I remember this day, the first search I did on Google was dramatically better than all the search that I had tried previous to that.
Page and Brin, who are planning to stay in school and finish their PhDs, set out to sell their spiffy new tool.
They were looking to license the technology, and you often think you produce something wonderful and other people would love the baby you've created and would want to raise it, but the reality is they got other things going on and it doesn't look as pretty to them as it does to you.
They spend a year looking, but no one will pay for the rights to their search engine. So they ask David Cheriton, who's an investor as well as a professor, if he can help them find money to start their own company. In 1998, he asks a Stanford alumnus who co-founded Sun Microsystems to come to his home to meet Page and Brin.
David thought it would be useful enough for us to meet and just sort of talk over of what it means to start a company if you're still a Stanford student. So we met at David's house in Palo Alto, and it was like early morning at 8 o'clock, and I had a 9 o'clock meeting at Cisco, so I didn't have much time.
Larry and Sergey arrived first, and so they were out there on the front porch with me and connected into my Ethernet at home. And Andy pulled up in his Porsche and hopped out, and they demoed the Google running on this laptop.
It was working astonishingly well, I mean, even as this small demo. So clearly, I thought this was going to work. That was not even the question. The only question was, how would they make money with this? So the next question was like, what's the business model? How you monetize this? And they would say, well, we can then link this all to these relevant ads. So relative to the search term you have, they could have this unlimited ad inventory and just you search for a tennis racket. Here's an ad from people who want to sell you tennis rackets, and and they will charge 5 cents a click for that, which is still the basic fee today. So in the back of my mind, I was calculating, they're going to get 1 million clicks a day at 5 cents a click, $50,000 a day. They cannot go broke. So it was clear that this was a money-making machine.
So he said, I don't want you guys to have to, take too low a valuation or to have to worry too much about these money things right now. Why don't I just write you a check? So he went back to his car, came back with his checkbook, and he wrote us a check for $100,000.
A new company is born, and soon a new verb, to Google. The website pulls in so much ad revenue that Google quickly becomes a very big business. When it goes public in 2004, it's worth $23 billion. By 2017, it's one of the most valuable companies on earth, worth $600 billion.
2022 minus 24 years is 1998. Less 24 years is 1974. Also, a couple of exciting companies started 1970s. Microsoft was founded in 1975. Without Microsoft, there wouldn't have been any Windows. Without Bill Gates, you probably wouldn't have had a PC on your desk now. 1976, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak started Apple, the company that revolutionized the use of technology as we know it today. Thinking back 24 years and another 24 years, and you can see that this whole world has changed. So Wannabe entrepreneur, remember this number 24. Break it down. 24 seconds, 24 minutes, 24 days, 24 months, 24 years. And if you look into the future, 24 hours, 24 days, 24 months. Maybe you want to change something in your world. Maybe you want to change something in your life. Now, it does not necessarily have to do anything with entrepreneurship. Maybe there's something in your life that's bothering you now that you want to change. Maybe it's a lifestyle change. Maybe you're overweight. Maybe you've got some vice in your life that's controlling you. Maybe it's cigarettes, opioids, alcohol. Maybe you need to take the next 24 hours to decide, what do I want to change in my life today, in the next 24 hours? And what am I going to put in place to make that change happen? Because any change in life starts with the first step. If that is now starting a new business, or maybe that is just changing something in your life, bettering your life. Maybe you want to start exercising. We all know how important exercise is. We all need to have fit bodies. Because remember, if you've got a 24-year goal, this body needs to carry you for the next 24 years. This mind needs to be enabled. Your creativity needs to be vamped up, ramped up. Your emotional state needs to be stable. What does it help? You put all this effort in and you don't get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So although this video is about entrepreneurship and how the number 24 is important in the entrepreneur's life, this concept can be also applied to other aspects of your life. Maybe you want to increase your knowledge base. Maybe one of the things that you need to do to increase your knowledge base is start reading more books. Watch more videos on YouTube. Make that decision today, in the next 24 hours, to decide what future you want 24 years from now.